All right, an official welcome to today's role play, conversion, scripting webinar. We're going to touch on all of the above and make sure that you get all of your questions answered. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We are going to have an hour together to make sure that you get all of your conversion questions answered, but we will specifically be working around scripting, making sure that you have the right opening line, you know how to handle common objections, you know how to ask for the appointment. But beyond knowing the script, today is making sure that you have the right tonality and you have the confidence to get on the phone and know that you can make things happen. So I want to go ahead and introduce myself because you may be thinking, hey, this is not John Marone. And it's not. John actually could not be with us today. He'll be back on our next one in 2 weeks, but he asked me to step in. John and I are on the same team here at CINC, but my name is Cayla Priest, and I am a certified trainer here at CINC. And I've been working with John for 3 years now. So our philosophy of conversion and teaching goes hand in hand. And I know that we will miss having his energy here today, but I hope that you will all be able to take away a lot from today. I have my photo up here just so you can put a face to the voice because I am somewhere where I cannot have my camera on today because I've got some folks in the back working behind me. But thank you so much for joining me here today, and we're going to have a good time. So I want to get started first by asking why you decided to come here today. We've got almost 200 people here on the call, so it's a big group, and that's a group that's going to have different needs and different ones and different reasons why you even joined me today. So if you wiggle your Zoom toolbar, and I want to make sure too that you guys can all see my screen with my photo. I see someone saying would like to see what you're teaching us. So right now it's just my photo up. I don't have any other information. So you'll got to stick with my photo for just a second. Thank you, Krista, as we get together what everyone wants to go over today. So I see to learn more tips and tricks to convert at a higher rate. Awesome. Need to learn everything about CINC. Lynn, I will give you some resources so you can get all that. Specifically about conversion, scripting, calling leads. I would love to know what exactly your goal is here. So for example, do you need to work on your opening line? Do you need to know how to handle certain objections? If there's an objection that someone threw at you in the past couple of weeks and you weren't quite sure what to do with it, how to handle it, throw that in there. And we can go over specific objections. If you have a scenario if any kind of scripting scenario that threw you for a loop, please share that in there and let's go ahead and get those questions answered for you today. I'm seeing a lot of people with opening line and handling certain objections. So if you have a specific objection, please throw that in there and we can talk through all of those. I'll be going back to this Q&A section, and if you're not quite sure where everyone is submitting this information for me to look at, it's in the Zoom Q&A. And if you don't see that, just wiggle your mouse, your Zoom toolbar will open up, and you will see Q&A. And if you click there, you'll be able to submit any of the information that you are hoping to go over. So I will be going through the Q&A. I'm hoping to get to every single thing, but again, we've only got about 56 minutes left together. I do see some questions about other CINC topics. So are we going to be going over the website, different things? This will be all specific to scripting. And we'll hopefully be able to get to some role play today. So everything here will be scripting, conversion. If you have other things you want to learn about your CINC site and kind of functionality in CINC, I will direct you to some other webinars that will help you with that a little later on in the webinar. So I've seen a ton of questions about the opening line. So with the opening line, I kind of want to first set our minds a little bit. And so you guys don't have to look at my face the whole time. We'll go back to here. So let's start with the opening line, because of course that is the very first thing that the first interaction we have with a new lead. So today we're talking about internet leads. And so those are leads that CINC generates for you. It also could be leads that you get from Zillow or from realtor.com or from any online lead source that you happen to use. This will kind of work for those blanket internet leads that came from Google, leads that came from Facebook, etc. So we're not talking about referrals, right? People that other people in the industry have referred to you. We're not talking about your past clients when you're calling to follow up with them. We're talking about brand new leads on your website that you have yet to have a conversation with yet. So we're talking about the brand new people that came and registered on the site and you're making your first call. And we're also talking about people who maybe registered on the site months ago and have never answered the phone. What do we do with them when we finally get them to answer? It could be someone that's been on the site for years, right? A lot of times people, when I say that, they're like, why am I calling someone that's been on the site for years? What's the point? And the point is that internet leads only get better the older they get, because internet leads are people, and that's a good distinction to make. They're just people looking for information online. And how often do we start our search for big purchases online? I'm looking at cars right now. So I started looking at different dealerships and looking at different manufacturers and going to their website to see what they offer, to see what kind of deals I can get. So it's the same thing when people are looking online for homes. They are simply just kind of starting their search, right? So they went to Google, for example. Most CINC leads are Google leads. They went to Google and typed in, I'm here in Atlanta. So I would say, homes for sale in Atlanta, or a specific neighborhood, homes for sale in Ansley Park. And CINC shows your advertisement to that person. They click on the ad, they come to the site, they look at the homes that match that search they just did, and then they find a home they want to see. They click on it. And what happens? The registration prompt pops up. So we may have some people that see that registration prompt and bounce. They say, I don't want to sign up for anything. Maybe they've signed up on other sites and they're like, I get so many emails. I just don't know what to do with it. But we have a lot of people who say, okay, yeah, I really want to see this home. And they put their information in. They put their information in, and then they have access to see that home they clicked on and all the others. So a lot of times I get, well, these are cold leads, right? And they're not. They're warm leads. These are people who took an action. They went to the internet. They did a search. They combed through all the search results. They chose your ad. They went to your site. They chose a home, and then they decided to put their information in. Now, will there sometimes be people who put incorrect information in? Yeah, that's the nature of the beast, right? We can't help all those. But there are the majority of people putting their good contact information in. So when you call them, I think it's a shift of, this is not a cold lead. This is not a maybe. This is someone who has proven that they are interested in these homes and they really need help because they're on the internet searching, and you have the expertise of the market and your area and the process to help them. So that's my first lesson I want you to take away from this. You have the expertise to help this person. And when you say the right thing and you ask the right questions and you close the right way, you're going to have a better conversation with them. So I've got a lot of people asking about call frequency. So let's dive into the opening line first, and then we'll touch on call frequency. So here's our opening line. It's super simple, right? It's so simple that you just have to practice to make it perfect. And when I say practice, it's because you want this to become second nature. You want this to be that as soon as you hear that hello with the right tonality, with the right energy, you can launch into this and kick off that conversation on the right foot. So what do I mean by tonality? Tonality means that the way I'm talking to you right now on this webinar is probably a little different than I'm going to go talk to my husband who's in his office on the other side of the house when I wrap this webinar up, right? My energy level is a little different. My inflection is a little different. I took my energy level up a notch because I need to engage with you and I need you guys to, engage with me back by giving me your questions and your things you want to talk about. But when I go talk to my husband and say, hey, I'm headed out to the store, what do you need me to get? That's a little bit of a different kind of tonality, right? Or when I call my mom to tell her something, maybe deliver some bad news and I'm not going to be able to come see them. That's a different tonality because it's a different type of outcome I expect from that call. So when you want to have the outcome of starting this conversation and this relationship out on the right foot, you need to take your tonality up a notch. And what John Marone, who typically hosts this webinar, teaches a lot is called flow state. And you can Google that. Flow state is basically when you're in the zone and you're in that kind of area, you're in that frame of mind that you're ready to go and you feel comfortable. And so flow, you can do many things to get into flow state, and it really depends on what works for you. Some people meditate, some people get up and walk around the block, some people listen to a great playlist, some people role play with others on their team. Whatever kind of gets your juices flowing and gets you in that right state of mind to make these calls. It could be as simple as standing up when you make your dials, because your body position does a lot with how you sound when you're on the phone. So I'm not going to have someone say hello and me say, hi, this is Cayla from the home search site. I saw you were looking at homes in Marietta. Are you looking to move in the next 3 to 6 months, or are you just browsing? I'm going to use my tonality, my energy, to let them know what I want back from them. So I'm going to say something like, hi, this is Cayla from the home search site. I saw you were looking at some homes in Marietta. Are you looking to move in the next few months, or are you just browsing? And you can hear the difference there between the first one to the second one. I got a question about asking and matching their tone and cadence. Some people absolutely will open up when you do match their cadence, but keep in mind that when you open with this energy, they're more likely to match yours. And so it really depends. If you kind of feel when you get, a few lines deep in the call that they're having trouble opening up to you, if you wanted to try to match their tone and cadence, I think play around with that and see if it works. Because Jesse's saying that they've heard people feel most comfortable around people most similar to themselves. You don't have to think that deep on it. Right. So if you are in the zone with someone and you have to work a little bit to pull them, out, I'm going to teach you the right questions to do that. If you feel comfortable playing around with your tone and cadence and you want to try to match them, that's totally fine. But also, again, I don't think you need to think that deep about it. When you start with your tonality right and your cadence right, then you're going to probably get that back. So I'm going to read this again and touch on some points that I think will kind of explain why this opening line, why this works. So we're opening up with a hi. This is Cayla, insert your name there, from the home search site. I'm not saying that they are, hey, I saw that you were looking at some homes on Google. I'm not really referencing where they came from. I'm not saying I saw you looking at some homes on caylashomesearch.com, because it may be a URL that they don't recognize, because some people may register. Actually, the statistic is that they are registering on anywhere between 5 to 7 sites at once. They don't know that all the data essentially comes from the same place. So they think registering on different sites is going to get them different results. So they may not recognize your URL because it may have been that 7th one they registered on that day. So we just say the home search site, but then we follow that up with, I saw you were looking at homes in the city that they're looking in. And on CINC, it's super easy to see that. It's right on the dashboard, their favorite city. Now, it may turn out that they are also looking in other cities, but this is enough to kind of trigger, okay, yeah, I have been online looking at homes in that city. And then you can even throw in a little non sequitur here. So I saw you were looking at homes in Marietta. I'm curious, I'm wondering. But you can simply just say, I saw you were looking at homes in Marietta. Are you looking to move in the next 3 to 6 months, or are you just browsing? And you notice I gave you some options here. So you can say 3 to 6 months. We've seen some people having success with 6 to 12 months during this COVID time, when sometimes people feel like their plans are a little bit more up in the air. Or you can even say the next few months. Practice and see which one sounds best to you. But we end with, or are you just browsing? A lot of times I see when I'm asking for the objections you want to cover, I see someone say, well, the objection is they said they're just looking. And I want you to take that out of your vocabulary, right? Everyone starts just browsing. So it's actually not an objection when someone says they're just browsing. The problem is that a lot of times agents will say, okay, well, when you see something that you like, give me a call and I'll help you. And then we end the call. So really the problem is in how we respond to someone saying that they're just browsing. Everyone starts just browsing. Now, I would say that probably 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a just browsing. Occasionally, you may have someone that says, yeah, I'm looking to move, by the summertime because I've got a kid that's getting into school and we want to be in a different school district. We can follow that, conversation thread easily. But most often, you're going to hear, yeah, I'm actually just looking around to see what's out there. And how we follow up to that is everything. If we again say, well, when you see something you like, give me a call, or even if we say, well, if there's any way I can help you, please let me know. They don't know you yet. They don't know that you are a great agent. They don't know that you know this area so well, right? They don't know anything about you. And so when you say, well, if there's anything I can do to help, let me know, they're just going to say, okay, I will, thanks, bye, and hang up. So we have to say or act like the fact that you're just browsing is the best news we've heard that day. And we get to say, oh, that's awesome. What exactly are you browsing for? Or we can even say something like, what's got you looking? Why is now the right time to start looking? Role play some different scenarios there, and you can actually come up with a lot of different interesting ways to ask someone exactly what they're looking for. So if someone does say, yeah, I'm really just looking to see what's out there. Awesome. That's exactly what the site is for. I hope you continue using it to look at what's available. But let me ask you this. What exactly are you looking for? Why is right now the time to start looking? What's your current situation? Asking those questions and just sounding excited about it. Like, cool. Hey, I've got an opportunity to work with this person. I'm excited. It should be your true excitement because this is an opportunity to connect with a new person and help them get into their next home, to help them through what is, arguably the most important, biggest transaction that most people make in their entire lives. So we act excited because we truly are, and we're truly interested in that person, and we're interested in getting to know their situation. So Ashley asked me, so would you say this opening line over, I'm with such and such brokerage? Yes. So I want to make a note here. I'm not saying that if someone asks exactly who you are, how you got their information, what brokerage you're with, you absolutely should answer that. In fact, some MLSs do have guidelines and restrictions that you have to introduce yourself, but I guarantee you that none of them say you have to introduce yourself by your brokerage in the first line of the phone call. What we find is that when you do say, hey, this is Cayla with ABC Realty, for example, I don't know if that's a real agency name, but hey, this is Cayla from ABC Realty. Sometimes someone may have had a bad experience with another agent at ABC Realty sometime in their home buying past or home selling past even. Maybe they have a person that they really don't like in their personal life. Maybe it's, another mom from PTA that works for that brokerage and they don't like her. And so it just brings up a negative connotation. It could be as simple as sometimes people don't like the signs that they see from brokerage and different yards. And so they just have a negative reaction to it. So exactly. We shouldn't mention the brokerage on the opening line. Now, if someone asks, absolutely be honest. I'm never going to tell you to try to deceive anyone, but it's not a good idea to lead with it. So that's why we just say it's, Cayla from the home search site. We don't want to give anyone any opportunity to, react negatively. So we introduce ourselves quickly. We let them know that, we saw they're looking at homes in this city. And then we ask, are you looking to move in the next few months or are you just browsing? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, yeah, I'm just looking to see what's out there. I'm just browsing. You can even repeat it. That's a huge thing in mirroring. Repeat it. Oh, just browsing. Awesome. I'm so glad you are using my site to look to see what's out there. What's got you browsing now? Repeating and mirroring is huge. But as Kenneth said, being yourself is awesome. If you find that you need to wiggle a little bit and you have like an amazing way that you can come back to, are you just browsing? And when they say, yeah, I'm just browsing, and it's something I didn't mention, but it works great for you, please use it, right? Try this opening line. It is proven to work over, 3 years now of us training on this specific opening line. Try this because I know that it works. But if you find that, when you say a certain thing, when someone says they're just browsing, I didn't teach it to you, but it works for you, I'm never going to tell you not to use it. Amanda asked, you asked to speak to the person or just dive right into the intro? I just dive right in. Let me tell you, when I was just out of college and I owed a lot of money to my college, and someone called and said they asked, can I speak to Cayla? Cayla wasn't here. I didn't know anyone by that name. So we don't ever want to ask to speak to the person. It just sounds a little salesy. It sounds like someone that's looking for them. And so most of the time you're going to hear, oh, no one's here by that name. Oh, they're not available, whatever. So we just hop right into it. Anything that you don't see here on the screen, we don't say. This is all we say when we hear hello on the other end of that line. So I'm seeing some questions too about call kind of cadence, call frequency. This is, going to be your opening line for any call to someone that you haven't spoken to yet. That's whether someone just registered 5 minutes ago, or they registered 5 days ago, or they registered 50 days ago, they registered 500 days ago. If I've never had a conversation with them, this is my opening line. Now, as we know, not everyone answers the phone super quickly. Not everyone answers the phone on that first call. I see in our Facebook groups where, brokers and agents are talking and sharing their experiences. I see, that sometimes people are selling homes to people who've been in their site for over 1,000 days. So you just never know. So we call as many times as it takes to get someone to answer. I think I saw a question too about leaving a voicemail. I don't want to leave a voicemail before I've spoken to someone. So I will only leave a voicemail when I'm following up with someone. So if someone that I'm calling and I've already spoken to them, we've already had this first phone call, and now I'm calling to follow up, I will absolutely leave a voicemail for them because we've already started to create that name recognition, right? We've already started to build that relationship. But if it's someone I've never spoken to before, I don't want to leave a voicemail. Now, I'll break my own rule once I've called someone, say 10, 15 times. Once I've called someone 10, 15 times, I truly believe in the definition of insanity being doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right? So if I've called someone 10 or 15 times and they have not answered, I will leave them a voicemail. But what you say is really important. How many times do you actually call someone back when they say, well, if there's anything I can do to help you, call me back? Probably you're not going to get a lot of answers to that, or responses to that, I should say. Maritza is saying that she leaves a message. I absolutely agree with you. She said, I leave voicemails when I have called numerous times. So that we're on the same page. Once you've called several times, again, 10 to 15 times, they haven't answered yet, then I'm going to leave a message. Because when you leave a message before then, if you leave a message on that first call, again, this is a stranger that you're calling. They don't know anything about you. They don't know your expertise. They don't know how well you're going to help them. All they know is that they have a voicemail giving them something to do, and they have to listen to the voicemail first of all, which we know that a lot of people who don't work in real estate don't listen to their voicemail very much. It gives them something to do, and oftentimes they're not going to because they don't have any reason to call you back. You haven't provided any value to them. So I like to drop a little nugget. So something like, that there's a new home that just came on the market in the city they're looking in that you think would be a great fit for them. Hey, how do you want me to send that to you? I can email or text it to you. Give me a call back and let's make sure it's going to be a good fit for you. Give them a reason to call you back. Give them some value in there. Ronald said, I use hello, Tom. This is Ron. I'm a realtor with the home search site. What do you think about that? If that's in the opening line, I would try this instead. I would try this opening line. Ashley, are you wanting me to repeat that voicemail that I mentioned, how to drop a little value for them? Awesome. So it would be something like, if I'm calling you, Ashley, I say, hey, Ashley, this is Cayla from the home search site. There's a new home that came on the market in Marietta that I think will be a really great fit for you. How do you want me to send that to you? I can text it over or I can email it over. Just give me a call back. Let's make sure it's going to be a good fit for you. You can reach me at this number. All right. Hope to talk to you soon. Bye. And you can kind of tweak that to make it work for your cadence, your tonality. But that's going to be the general template, right? Drop a little value. Let's chat to make sure it's a good fit, and then leave your number. I'll say it one more time. Absolutely. Hi, Ashley. This is Cayla from the home search site. There's a great new home in Marietta that just came on the market. I think it's going to be a great fit for you. How do you want me to send it to you? I can text it or I can email it. Just give me a call back and let's make sure that it is a great fit for you first. Here's my number. Thanks. Hope to talk to you soon. Bye. Maritza is dropping some really great value too using our double dial. So she says, I've also called, then hung up if they didn't answer, redial in 5 minutes. This seems to work. They do answer. I also call on Sunday starting at 10 a.m. It always works. Try for your market to see what works. Some people love calls on weekends. Some don't. See what works for you. She says people are home resting and I try to send my bio and intro letter before I call. So that's something cool that works for Maritza. I love the double dial. If you call, they don't answer, call back right away. Or as she says, in 5 minutes, that's called a double dial. And I've heard the same thing that Maritza shares, that really seems to work, that double dial to get people to answer. Awesome. So I'm just scrolling through our Q&A. I see one from Alan. What to say to buyers who just want to submit lowball offers in today's market? That's tough. I find that you often get that, or you run into that in a buyer's consultation, or when you're a little bit deeper into the kind of process with them. So that's all about educating your client, especially if we're in a seller's market, which I know a lot of the country in Canada as well are in. So it's really about educating them and kind of showing them days on market for homes, showing them, how many offers your listing or listings in your office are getting, because as we know, many are in multiple offer situations. If not almost all homes in super hot markets are getting multiple offers. So it's all about education. It doesn't mean that they still won't say, okay, but I still want to submit this. And then you just have to decide if it's worth it for you. If you want to refer it out to someone, or if you want to, tell them that maybe you're not the right fit for them, that's totally fine. So it's all about education. Show them the stats. Like, numbers don't lie, right? So if they see, well, this home was only on the market 3 days and it got 20 offers, is your lowball offer really going to be considered highest and best? No, it's not. So it's really all about education. Kenneth asks, how do we steer away the client from a listing they're calling about that has a very low commission? I would not. If that is the best home for them, I'm going to do everything I can to get them into the best home for them. If it's not going to be an ideal situation for you, again, refer it out to someone. But I'm never going to stand in the way between, someone getting a home that's the best fit for them. So let's see here. Let's jump back into the Q&A in just a moment, and let's talk about what happens after they say, yeah, I'm just browsing. So as we know, I mentioned a few things earlier. Oh, that's awesome, just browsing. Or that's exactly what the site is for. Awesome. Try out things that work for you, that sound natural when you're saying it. And then we're going to ask them a follow-up question. And here's just a quick list of follow-up questions that I think are really great ways to keep the conversation going. So again, we've already said our opening line. Hi, this is Cayla from the home search site. I saw you're looking at some homes in Marietta. I'm curious, are you looking to move in the next 3 to 6 months, or are you just browsing? And they say, yeah, we're just taking a look around. Awesome, just looking for now. That's exactly what this site is for. So I'm curious, why is now a good time to make a move? And that's going to lead them to tell us their motivation. That's the number one thing we are trying to step away from this phone call finding out is the lead's motivation. Motivation can also be known as their why, right? WHY. Why are they looking to move now? Why that city? Why that number of bedrooms? Why a big backyard? Why a separate shed or workspace? Why do they want to be close to public transportation? Why now? And asking why questions is going to make you really dig deep with that person's motivation. So I love why is now a good time to make a move? We can even ask what questions, like what interests you about Marietta, that will lead to a why. So, what interests you about Marietta? Oh, well, actually, my family lives there and we want to get closer to them now that, we've been apart for so long. That also led us to their motivation, and Vance just hit the nail on the head. We go what's called 3 whys deep. We want to go deep on their motivation because if someone says, well, I want to move to Marietta because that's where my family is, that's surface level, their motivation, but something has happened to make them want to close the distance between their family. Maybe it's that their parents are getting older and they just want to spend more time with them. Maybe someone's had a child and now it's grandparents maybe wanting to move to be closer to their grandchildren. So on the surface, yeah, my family lives there and I want to be closer to them. That's awesome. We've discovered 1 why deep, but we ask follow-up questions about that to try to figure out a little bit more. Let me use another example to kind of show this to you again. So maybe someone says that they are moving to this new city because they've gotten a new job. If we just say, okay, great, and how many bedrooms do you want? We haven't actually found out anything about that person's motivation. We can ask them, oh, awesome. First of all, we should congratulate them, right? I want to talk to this person as if I'm talking to my friend. I want to talk to them and make them feel comfortable like I would if I was talking to a friend. So if my friend calls me up and says, Cayla, I got a new job, I'm not going to say, cool, do you want to get together this weekend and sit around the fire pit? No, I'm going to say congratulations. I'm going to say congratulations and I'm going to be excited for them. So if someone says, yeah, I'm moving to this new city because I'm, have a job offer there. Awesome. Congratulations. Where are you going to be working? And we ask them a little bit about that. Now, I'm here in Atlanta. We've got a bunch of big corporations here. So let's say that they're working at Coca-Cola. I'm going to say, wow, congratulations. That's an amazing company to work for. Are you, trying to get close to the office? Or where are you thinking in terms of location? And we dig a little deeper about that. We can ask them what they're doing. We can ask them how long they've been in that field, but we're building a relationship here. So one more example to make this make sense. Let's say someone says, I want an extra bedroom, or they say, I get a little ahead of myself. They say, I want 4 bedrooms. If we just move on and say, okay, and how many bathrooms? We don't actually know why they needed that many bedrooms, because it could be that they don't actually need that many bedrooms. We could help them get a home that has a study or a bonus room or some sort of extra space that would help them, with what they require. So if someone says 4 bedrooms, I'm going to say, awesome. Why is that? Why is 4? Why 4 bedrooms? And they might say, well, it's me and my partner, and I've got, my kid, and my partner's parents are moving in with us. We wouldn't have known that if we had just moved on. Now we know that there's going to be essentially, this is a multifamily home. So we know that we might want to find something with an in-law suite or a finished basement or something like that. And so asking deeper questions, asking better questions in general is going to lead to you being able to find out more. I guarantee you that most agents who are calling these people are being what we call order takers. And by that, I mean they're asking what city, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what else are you looking for? Okay, I'll find some things and get back to you. They are not digging deeper to find out the motivation. And that is going to help you stand apart from all the other agents, on other sites that they may have registered on. And when you find their motivation, you actually start to build real trust. And as we know, that's what we have to get to convert an internet lead. They have to know, like, and trust us. Knowing is just in you building their relationship. It's multiple touch points. Liking is you having that good tonality and being interested in them. Interested people seem interesting. And then trust is when we get to know their motivation and we do exactly what we say that we're going to do. When we follow up, when we say we're going to follow up, when we send what we say we're going to send, and when we're there to help them through the tough parts. Jason has a great thing here. He says, I always have at least a 10-minute conversation with new clients to get friendly. Best practice is to find something for both of us to laugh about. So for Jason, comedy or, that levity really works. If that kind of makes you feel like, ooh, I'm not funny, I don't know what, find your thing, right? For me, I actually am in comedy, so I like to act a little goofy, and that makes people feel comfortable with me. If that's not you, find what's you, right? For Jason, he likes to find, something for them to laugh about, but getting friendly, that's exactly it. He's talking to them like they're his friend already. And that's awesome. So other kind of conversation continuers, good sentences here. That's interesting. Why is that? It's a great one when you're stuck. If someone says, yeah, I really need for it to have a 3-car garage, that's really not interesting. It's just a fact. But when we act like it's interesting, people are more likely to spill and tell us a little bit more about that. So yeah, I really need a 3-car garage. Oh, a 3-car garage. That's interesting. Why is that? It's my tonality. I kind of went up on that. Oh, that's interesting. A 3-car garage. Why is that? I sound interested. What's your situation is a good one because we might find out that they are moving from out of state. And maybe they need some help with someone listing their current place there, or maybe they are coming into town without a job and we find out that we can help them in their new position or in their new area. I like the question, what does the perfect neighborhood look like to you? Because we might find out, like I'll use John's example. He's not here today, but I've heard him tell this story a lot. He was living in Texas and then New Jersey. They really wanted to get back to living in a beach town. So they decided they wanted to move to Destin, Florida, which is beautiful if you've ever been. But he and his wife and his daughter had never really been to Destin. They were moving, not knowing anyone. And so he was working with a great CINC agent in the area and said, we want to be beachfront. We want to be right on the beach. We want to be able to walk there. And what the agent was able to tell him is that, hey, beachfront here is not for residents. Beachfront here is for, snowbirds. It's for, renters, for vacationers. If you really want to put down roots here and have, friends for your daughter and to be able to make friends in the neighborhood for you and your wife, you really want to be Bayside. Where if the agent had just said, oh, you want to be beachfront, cool, here are some listings, he would have put them in a home that didn't meet their true needs. He knew their true needs about wanting to put roots down, find friends, get involved in their community, because he had that right question for them and asked, what's the perfect neighborhood look like for you? They said, we want to barbecue with our friends. We want to have neighborhood block parties. We want to, for our daughter to be able to make friends. They had that conversation, so the agent knew and could direct them to something that really made more sense for them. And do you think then that John really knew that that agent had his best interest out? Because the, beachfront properties were probably more expensive than those bayfront properties. He didn't care that, his commission wouldn't be as high. He put them in the best place for them. Maritza's saying you had another class which introduced folks' messages on their voicemail, speaks to how to leave a message or engage with a client. So, for example, if the person leaves a long message, they are most likely detailed and like to talk. If a client just says leave a message, they are direct and need the facts only. It worked, and I wanted to say thank you. That's awesome. So that's kind of that mirroring. That's really great. I love that. I'm glad that worked for you. So these questions are great starting points, but these are not the only questions. To me, a script gets you started. The only thing I want to be scripted in your calls is that opening line. The opening line is really what sets you up to be able to follow what the person says. If they said they're moving because they got a new job, it's congratulations, and it's asking them about that. It's not moving on to, again, order take and find out how many bedrooms. When they say how many bedrooms, we dig into that and we ask them. Again, what Vance said is 3 whys deep. We dig deep until we get to the true root of the reason why. That motivation is going to help, and it's everything because it then helps us close. So when we go over this closing, then we'll dive back into the Q&A in the chat. So when someone says, that they are looking to be in Marietta, they are looking for a 4-bed, 3-bath because they wanted to be closer to work, because their kid plays competitive baseball and they've been missing all of their games because they live so far from work that they're stuck in the car and they're not able to be there and create those memories. Maybe they have to work on the weekend, and so they're not there to help their kid at practices too. You basically find out that they do want a house with a certain bed and bath, but the real motivation is I need to be closer to work so I can get home and be there for those memories, right? It's all about making this search full circle, right? So we've had this conversation now. We've found out all these details. Now, how do we ask for the appointment? I saw a question in the chat earlier about the line that we kind of use to, turn this into an appointment, to a meeting. I can't find it exactly, but it was around that. So I'm going to say this, and again, tonality is really important. Now I'm not so much as going for excited, happy. I'm going to make this really leave an impact. So it's something like this. All right, Cayla, let me ask you this. If I was to find you that 4-bed, 3-bath house that got you closer to work and let you be there for your kids' baseball games and create those memories, would you consider moving sooner? Now, this is really powerful for people that said they had any kind of time frame. Someone that said they wanted to move within the next 6 months to 12 months, that's super typical for an internet lead. Their, move time is going to be anywhere between 6 months to 18 months statistically. That's why I actually love working internet leads, because it allows me to fill up my pipeline. So I'm not constantly chasing now business. I'm setting people up who are moving, in the next few months, in the next year. And I have all that time to build that relationship by following up with them and sending them things that I think may work for them. This line right here is going to not only let those people know, hey, I understand exactly what you're looking for. I've listened. I've taken note. I want to help you be there for your kids' baseball games and create those memories. And let's just say if they said they had a son that played baseball or a daughter who played softball, I would say that instead of kid. So for your son's baseball games, I would have asked, to find out, how old they were and all that good stuff. So let me ask you this. If I was to find you that 4-bed, 3-bath house that got you closer to work and let you be there for your son's baseball games and create those memories, would you consider moving sooner? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, yeah, I would. Because you just basically said, if I could solve your problem and get you exactly what you're looking for, would you move sooner? You just took away any of that anxiety that they felt that they wouldn't be able to be there for their son's baseball games. any anxiety that they wouldn't be able to find the right house. You said, if I was to find that for you, if I was to solve your problem, would you consider moving sooner? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes. If you have done your job to dig deep and find the real motivation, they are going to say yes. And then you get to say, awesome, the next step in the process is this. We're going to meet up. And then that's part of the process is totally up to you, whatever your office policy process is. But I would say something like this. Awesome. The next step in the process is we're going to meet at my office, go over exactly what you're looking for, and talk about, how getting you into that home is going to happen. Basically, we're letting them know, okay, they haven't committed to anything yet, but you just basically got them to say, if you could find that for me, yeah, I'm ready to go. And then you get to tell them what the next part of the process is, and then you guys know how to set up an appointment from there, right? So when they say, yeah, I'd move as soon as we found it. Awesome. So the next step in the process is this. We're going to meet in my office and do, a quick conversation, really dive into what you're looking for and how I can help you find it, whatever that may be for you. Alma's saying, I feel stuck when I have to introduce the proof of pre-qualification. You don't have to go over that now. That can be in that meeting that you have with them. I personally don't like to meet potential buyers at a home to show them. I want to meet them first in my office so I can go over what our strategy is. What exactly are you looking for? Have you spoken to a lender? I do want them to be pre-qualified before I take them out to a home because I don't want to, take them to a home that they can't afford. So I do want them to be pre-qualified, but I'm going to handle that in my office before I take them out to a home. Now, your process may be different. You guys, I know a lot of people will meet at one home before they, have them pre-qualified. That's totally up to you. My preference is I want to meet them first, get them to sign that buyer, brokerage agreement, and then we're going to do everything else. Michael asked, do I find most of my buyers are first-time homebuyers? I don't. And chime in too in the chat if you know that. But I mean, I have trained and worked with a ton of CINC agents that actually have developed good relationships with a lot of, leads that came in and have done multiple transactions with them. Or they're, helping people get into, maybe they're retiring and they're buying their, retirement property, or, I think the situations totally vary. They're super wide ranging. I'm just scrolling through to see in our Q&A. Yeah, someone anonymously said, I think agents are not asking for the appointment. I told them if they don't ask, they don't get. That's absolutely true. Kathy asked, do you want to convert them from your CINC site to your MLS site? And I don't like to do that for people who are super far out. If someone's, the typical 6 months to 18 months out, I'm not putting them on my MLS site. I'm keeping them on the site that they registered on, the CINC site, because you can track what they're opening, what they're looking at. You can send them all the homes they need through there. The CINC property alerts are amazing. They get sent at the time the lead is most likely to open their email. So I think it's really great and engaging, super great for long-term kind of nurture there. And yes, Kathy, when I say home search site, I'm referring to the CINC site for sure. So here's one. If someone says no to an appointment and no to a showing, where do we go from there? If someone says, when you say, would you consider moving sooner in this close? And they say, well, actually, I need to save for a down payment. What this close does is it gives you one last opportunity to handle any objection they can throw on you. So basically, using this close really cuts down on people being able to say no to an appointment or to a showing. So let's use that example. Well, I really need to, move, or excuse me, I really need to save up a down payment before we move. You then know that there might be ways that you can help them. So, every state is different. So if this doesn't sound familiar to you, check to see if your state has it. But I know here in Georgia, there are a lot of programs that you can get someone involved in for a reduced down payment. It can be if they move to certain areas where they're trying to get revitalized. Maybe they get a grant for a down payment. Maybe if they're first time buyers, there is like a 3% down program here in Georgia. So I bet your state has those. So if it is something where someone says, yeah, I really need to work on saving more of a down payment, ask if they're familiar with those programs. Again, you're solving their problem there. If they say, well, we need to list this house first, and we really need some time to get it fixed up first, ask if they've had an agent out to take a look at it, offer to do that so you can help them make the right choices as they get it fixed up to list. So asking and closing the conversation like this gives you that opportunity to, again, solve that last problem that they give you. If they say, well, we're retiring in 2 years, and so it really doesn't make sense for us to, purchase now, especially if you're in like a second home market type of area, then maybe you let them know about rental programs there. Did they know that they could have their mortgage paid if they enroll in your rental program? Whatever it is, you guys probably have a solution to every problem that someone presents to you if they say, well, I probably wouldn't move any sooner because XYZ. So, Abdul, that's what I would say to them. If someone says no to an appointment, no to a showing, I would ask them, I feel like we've had a great conversation. Can you let me know why you're not ready to meet? I mean, if you've never used that question, it's really powerful because they just, there might be one problem that you just haven't helped them solve yet. So the question, it's this one here about would you consider moving sooner? Oh, I see. When they say they're not quite ready, if they still say no, I'd say, hey, Salvador, I feel like we've had a great conversation. So I'm curious, why are you not quite ready to meet with me yet? I use that when I interview for jobs too. I got a pretty good track record. Knowing everything you know about me, is there anything that gives you pause in hiring me for this role? Really powerful question. You can use it in real estate too. So let's see. Hi, Cayla. Are the listings in CINC in real time? Yes, most sites. I say most because some MLSs won't let us, but it's a very few and far between. Most MLSs update every 5 minutes. So your sites get new listings every 5 minutes in most instances. Lisa, what are your thoughts on a video introducing yourself? I like the idea, but I'm stuck on what to say. Lisa, that is a great question because we've actually been talking about how we can make video easy for you or easier for agents. Excuse me, I'm taking a drink of water real quick. Knowing what to say is half the battle. You really can't say anything wrong. I love a video text, but I wouldn't let that stop me from calling someone too. So even if I send a video text or email, I'm still calling as soon as I can. I know that if you Google looking for scripts, there's a ton of information out there. At CINC, we're working on putting stuff together as well. So be on the lookout for that because we know that's a big need. Angelina asked, how will you close a call with someone out of state or out of the country? Sometimes they're not in the same city. Then I offer to do showings and that, first appointment where we sign the brokerage agreement, where we talk about our strategy. I offer to do that virtually. I mean, Zoom, FaceTime, anything. I offer to do that virtually. Absolutely. How do you get a client back once they decide to go with another agent? Should we even try or just let it go? I want to focus on the people who are real opportunities to me. That being said, if someone does say they have another agent, I still will send them my contact information and thank them for their time because we know that those situations can often fall through. So I'm never actively going after someone else's client, but I will sometimes ask if they have signed a brokerage agreement with someone else. because if they haven't, then they really don't have another agent. A lot of times people that say they have a realtor or say they have an agent are lying. It's just an easy way to get you off the phone. So I will ask if you've signed anything with someone else. I'll sometimes ask what that person's name is. Oh, I know a lot of people who work in the area. Who are you working with? If they give me a real person's name that I recognize, I'm going to say, oh, I've heard they do an amazing job. You're in great hands. If anything does change, I'm going to shoot you an email with my contact info. And please give me a call if anything changes. And continue to let the system send them property alerts, because if they were fibbing about having an agent, they'll continue to get those. Even if they did have an agent, they'll still continue to get those. It could be super valuable to them. And if something does fall through, then they can reach back out to you. So don't take it at face value when someone says they have an agent. They're not always telling you the truth. Anonymous here said, my brokerage told me we don't use buyer brokerage agreements. What are your thoughts? I don't understand why you wouldn't, because it saves you in the long run from someone wasting your time. And you've shown someone 20, 30 properties, and then all of a sudden they're working with someone else. So I think it really saves you a lot. You can always be flexible in letting someone out of one if you absolutely have to, but I would do that to protect my agent's time that you could have spent working with someone who actually is going to work with you at the end of the day. Can you repeat again what to say to leads that won't commit to an appointment? Yeah, I'll say that one more time. If someone said, yeah, I'm really not quite ready to make an appointment yet, you can say, okay, Natalie, I totally understand. I feel like we've had a really great call and I really understand what you're looking for. So could you tell me what's stopping you from making that appointment? Or can you tell me what's stopping you from setting that time up with me? Practice and see what works best for you, as long as it's got that same kind of flavor. I have a couple leads that are unsubscribed to text and email, but are still going to my site to look at properties. What do I do with these leads? Let them. If you're providing a value to them, clearly you are, because they're still using the site. I would let them continue to look at properties, because it doesn't hurt you at all. And if they do continue to use it, I've had a lot of times where leads will reach out to the agent and say, hey, you've been sending me these property alerts and I'm finally ready to get started looking. So you just never know when someone's situation changes. And so I just let them continue to use my site, because it doesn't hurt me for them to continue to look, and you just focus on the people who are communicating with you. That's a great question though, Cecilia. When do we get a lot? I just kind of let people go for it, Bobby asked, is video text working on our CINC platform? CINC does have video text and video email. So if you are not the site owner, I would go with your site owner and ask about it. If you are, if you want it and you don't have it, I would call into your account manager or to support, and they can help you get that turned on. Now, I did offer earlier, we've only got a couple minutes left, where you can get additional training here at CINC. And so I'm going to show you here. cincommunity.com, especially cincommunity.com/webinars. This is where you can sign up for additional CINC training. Here's the one we're on right now. We have additional webinars opening up in February. These right here, twice a month and once monthly, these will open up in February, but you can go ahead and register and get them on your calendar. And then we also have additional recordings from past webinars here. Y'all will especially like the scripting and role play gallery here. And then below that, you can see others about the CINC platform itself. So if you asked a question earlier about saying that you needed help on all things CINC, this is your spot. cincommunity.com has all of our training, whether it's virtual or live in person. So if you are interested in joining us in person, here you can check out CINC University. But if you're looking for additional webinars, that's here in the tab. Tons of helpful information right here on this site. But let's head back to our slides here. So we only have about a minute left. If I was not able to get to what you sent in, I apologize. I wish we could spend all day together, but it looks like we have been able to touch on a lot of what you were looking for. I really appreciate everyone taking an hour out of your day to join me here. really thank you so much for coming and letting me know what you were looking for. If I could leave you with three things, it's to be interested. Remember that being interested makes you seem interesting. People love to talk about themselves. Ask lots of questions, ask the right questions, and don't end that without asking for the appointment. You will never get it if you don't ask for it. So be confident, be bold, and ask for it. Now, I was recording today's webinar, so I'm going to send it out to all of you here. It will also go in that recording gallery on cincommunity.com. So again, a huge thanks to all of you for joining me. Have a really wonderful week. Reach out to us at CINC if we can do anything to help. The whole company truly is the best company I've ever been with. Everyone in there truly cares about how successful you are. So if there's anything we can do to help at all, please reach out to us. We are all there to help make sure you're all as successful as possible. Join us every 2 weeks for this webinar, and I hope to see you on some of our additional webinars starting in February. Thank you again. Have a great week. I've been Cayla. Nice to have you. Bye, everybody.